Here is an energy update for 2021. It's time to prepare for potentially more chaos. Hi, I'm Saratoga Ocean. Now, if you think 2020 was weird, 2021 could potentially be about to get a whole lot weirder. But there might be some good news in the works as well. See, I have a feeling that the controllers' plans are in a bit of chaos right now. I don't think things are going as well for them as they had hoped. Way too many people are waking up to the lies and the mass manipulation of all of humanity. But there's something else that might be in the works as well. I have a feeling that there could be an extraterrestrial component in the mix coming up. Earlier on, it felt like the controllers had everything pretty well locked down in terms of their overall plans for humanity. It felt like their plans were pretty solidly in place and that the execution of those plans was going well according to their plan. But it doesn't feel like that anymore. It feels like there's some kind of chaos in the space surrounding our planet. And I sense that whatever is going on is disrupting their ability to maintain total control. Now, it is pretty well known that the human controllers on this earth answer to other dimensional beings and nefarious ETs. So if there is some kind of chaos happening in space, it could mean that there is some sort of conflict happening over our fate on an extraterrestrial level. And that might be why suddenly so many people believe that we are on the brink of an extraterrestrial disclosure. Now, I had a conversation the other day with John of Telstar, who is one of the beings that I channel, and we were talking about this, and he shared some fascinating information with me, which I'm going to share with you. He said that this all comes back to the planned AI takeover of this planet. See, AI is like a virus. It tends to spread very rapidly in a galaxy and in the cosmos. So there are other civilizations who are watching what is happening here and recognize the fact that an AI takeover of Earth also potentially endangers their civilizations as well. John said that it is an extremely complex situation and that we here on Earth do not have the mental capacity to process or understand all of it. He said that in order to fully understand it, we would have to be able to consciously rely on multiple interdimensional reference points and even reference points that exist outside of time as we understand it. So he said that what he could tell me is going to sound more like kind of like a comic book version of things rather than the actuality of how complex it really is. He said that that's because on Earth, we are time-oriented, one-dimensional linear thinkers. We are not really multi-dimensional, interdimensional thinkers. And guys, that's not really our fault. It's just that is the limitation of how our brains are designed and how we were probably genetically manipulated to be very dumbed down. He said this is why it's so important that we cultivate our enormous reservoir of intuitive capabilities. He said it would be really helpful for us to learn how to better read energy. See, if we passively sit back and expect other entities to give us all the answers, we will not evolve to the level necessary to be able to fully comprehend the vastness of our situation. In other words, we have to evolve our consciousness so that we are able to meet and understand the higher levels of communication that we so desperately need. And we cannot evolve to that level if we insist on being spoon-fed all the answers. So here's what John was able to tell me right now, with the caveat that this is only a small part of a much larger situation. The controller's plan is being disrupted in two ways. The first way is that more and more people are waking up to their sinister plan for world domination and to all of the ridiculous lies that they've been telling us. They're waking up to all of the manipulation. And more people are openly expressing that they do not want this. So that has been a huge help in terms of the larger forces that want to help us, because that is us making our wishes openly known instead of just mindlessly succumbing to it all. And here is the second way that the controller's plan is being disrupted. We've all heard about the universal law of free will, which all of the higher beings in this universe definitely follow. And by the way, there is another reason for the universal law of free will. Without it, there is no evolution. We cannot evolve back into being the powerful creators that we truly are if we are unwilling to exercise our free will. That's the whole reason the controllers want to shut down our freedom. They want to limit our opportunities to exercise our free will so we don't evolve. So anyway, as long as Earth's problems remained confined to Earth, and we as a humanity went along with it all, it was pretty much hands off in terms of the rest of the cosmos. But now that this AI takeover could potentially threaten other star systems, along with so many humans saying that they don't want to live under a totalitarian technocracy, there are other civilizations that could potentially intervene in order to protect themselves. Now, that doesn't mean that they will win because there are so many unpredictable factors involved. But it does create a massive amount of chaos for the controllers to be able to fully enact their plans. John said that it is important for people to realize that when we use the word controllers, we are talking about a consortium of human and extraterrestrial controllers. The network of control is far more vast than we probably realize. See, it is by no means limited just to this planet. Now, another interesting thing he told me is he said that we should never assume the Hollywood version of things called the good guys always win. He said when you make that assumption, it takes you out of the now and prevents you from responding in a way that is appropriate to the current situation. He said it basically makes us unconscious. So he said that yes, indeed, there is a war happening in space among the extraterrestrials themselves. But there is more than just war going on. There are tremendous negotiations taking place about exactly what to do about this entire situation. He said it is a very, very delicate balance. And he did caution me about one more very interesting thing. He said that all the Hollywood movies that were presented about space and aliens and extraterrestrials, he said all those movies were actually designed to make us stupid. They were designed to insert false reference points in our minds and to keep us thinking about such things at primitive one-dimensional levels. So that's an interesting little piece of mind control. So we need to understand that we have been programmed by these movies. We've been programmed to stay passive and complacent and to treat this topic like we are spectators watching some kind of ET sports event that is all about who wins and who loses. He said that winning and losing are terms of war and are generally only found in civilizations that are primitive, tribal, and unevolved. Kind of sounds like us a lot of the time, if you really think about it. So he suggested that we eject this primitive space programming from our minds so that we can start thinking more strategically and more intelligently. He said the other thing that's in the mix is that the controllers are thinking about maybe starting another war here on our planet, just to create more chaos and confusion and provide a distraction to those who are waking up to their nefarious deeds. And let's also not forget that they do feed off the energy of war. The negative ETs, the reptilians, I mean, most of us probably know already that they definitely feed off that energy. So I don't know if they want to start another war here. It could also be for that purpose, I would think, so maybe they just need more energy, especially if they're feeling kind of threatened. So John said that basically things are kind of a mess right now. Overall, on Earth and in space, things are not really going according to the controller's plan, but the outcome still remains to be seen. Okay, so that is pretty much what John shared with me, and it totally matches my feeling that there could potentially be more chaos to come in 2021. Now, for almost a year and a half, we have been forced to deal with many shocking, unexpected things, and many people are traumatized. But we are basically in a war for our souls and for our planet, so it's really important that we find our strength and rise to the occasion. And we can do that. We have to fully recognize that we are infinite beings and that it's time for us to take full responsibility for ourselves and for our consciousness. We cannot afford to position ourselves as dutiful slaves who are just waiting around to be told what to do. Now, let me share with you one more downside to having a slave mindset. That very mindset is what keeps us falsely believing in a savior. It's why we believe that it is the job of higher beings to spoon feed us all the answers while we sit around and do little or nothing to actually evolve ourselves. See, a slave mindset makes us lazy, makes us passive, and extremely fearful because it leads us to believe that we are out of control and that we are victims. And all that does is to perpetuate the larger problem. See, here's a funny thing. Domination must have the other side of being dominated in order for domination to exist. So let's stop playing the role of the other side of domination by perceiving ourselves as victims. See, we have to start learning how to be metaphysically strategic in how we deal with all of these things. Because guys, that's what the controllers do. They're not just operating on a physical level alone. They're very much operating at metaphysical levels. And now it's time that we learn to do the same thing for ourselves. So if you think about that for a moment, just hold that idea in your mind, being metaphysically strategic. Compare that to the idea of just searching on the internet for answers. Where are the answers? I just have to keep looking for the answers online. That's fine to a point. But we don't want to stop there, you guys. We really need to evolve ourselves to a level of consciousness where we can begin to understand and fully comprehend our situation and learn to be, as I said, metaphysically strategic. We need to learn how to consciously operate at higher and higher levels of consciousness so that we're functioning at the same level that these controllers are functioning at. Not that we're like them, but that we really understand what's going on and we know what we ourselves can do about it. Because think about this. How in the world do you think a tiny handful of humans can control between 7 and 8 billion people if they're not operating also at metaphysical levels? Of course they are, but we have that capacity as well. And this is why I think I was really thinking about what John was sharing with me and how we need to get out of this linear, one-dimensional mindset and how important it is for us to evolve ourselves and not just want to be spoon-fed all the answers, because it's all starting to come together if you really think about it, why it is so important and the capacity that we actually have and the power that we actually have if we just have a paradigm shift in terms of how we view ourselves and our position in this universe. So just remember that the real transformation starts in our minds, it starts within, and it is motivated by our hearts and by our inner wisdom and consciousness. And actually, it even goes beyond a paradigm shift. It's more on the level of a total revelation about who we really are. See, if by chance the extraterrestrials openly enter the picture in 2021 in a way that we are forced to accept their existence and to accept their involvement with our planet, then we're going to have to be a whole lot stronger than we are now. So as you can see, events are unfolding at a faster and faster rate. We can no longer afford to just wait around for the next big surprise to hit. We have to focus on consciously evolving now. Now, I'm going to do another video on Friday about how we can begin consciously evolving ourselves in a way that matches our current situation and gives us a chance to more easily meet whatever might be coming ahead in this year of 2021. So if you're not subscribed yet, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so that you don't miss that video. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it out with anyone else who you think would find this interesting. And with that, I'm sending you so much love, light, and positive energy. And I so look forward to seeing you in the next video. Namaste.